Well, howdy, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today, if you have... Oh, pressed the wrong button. Of course. Just what I do. If you haven't noticed, I got a few blocks set up for us because I had some free time watching this drill work. Still have not seen it do the full cargo thing. So, you might be fine with this one piston. Just saying. Anyway, what my plans are for today, if you have not seen by the title yet, is to get our first mining ship up and running. Because pit miners are nice and they give you the basic stone, but we want to start getting into the actual iron ore and silicon ore and stuff like that. If we look at refineries, and we look at basic refineries, have limited types of ores into ingots. So basically what that means is it can do every type of ore except gold, silver, platinum, and uranium. Everything else this thing can do. So if we get actual ore, it will give us more than what we get out of stone. Plus cobalt and, what's the other one? Basically cobalt you don't get in stone. So right now we have inventory: nickel, silicon, a little bit of magnesium, and iron. That magnesium I actually got out of a cargo container, so because you can't find that in stone either. That's the other one. But iron, silicon, nickel. You see, we get very little iron just from stone. Same thing with silicon and nickel. If we were to get the ore version of those, we would get a lot more. And then as you upgrade and go into the bigger refineries, they give you even more. And then there's modules you can put on those to get you more, yada yada yada. So basically what we want to do is start getting the ore versions. That way we can build better stuff, get better equipment to build better stuff, to get bigger equipment, and, eventually make it to space, which
Energy critical.
well, I guess we probably go to the moon after this because that's probably going to be our next stop. But we want to try and get something that will get us better materials. Even if it's just something small, which I think is what we are going to do, because we don't have many metal grids. We have 58, but, I mean, that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, to be honest with you. So, what we're going to do is we're going to build something small with this 58 metal grids, and probably won't use all of them, to be honest. But that'll help us get what we need. Give me 100 of those, please. It'll help us get at least started, and that's kind of what I want to do. Now you'll see I have a hinge here, and then I have these two blocks as well. Basically, it is a armored conveyor T-junction with a small connector on a large grid. What exactly is the name of that? I keep forgetting. For small inset connector. That's what it is. That one. This is a newer one, a newer block, so that way we can hook small grids with small connectors up to it. And then I have a hinge with a small medium head. Or not a small head, but a medium-sized head on it. This is called a 3x3. If we were to go into the control panel, all I did was not make the hinge head part, and instead I made it add a medium head. So whatever the hinge spawns with as you place it, just grind that hinge part off, tell it to add a medium head, and you have this. So now you can place blocks, which is nice because that's what we want to do. So for our first miner, I think what I want to do is first, let's go for a white color this time, just because it's dark. We're going to want to start with the battery because I want to have that charging as we go. And then I think not the flush cockpit. Where's the industrial one? I want to use the industrial one just because if you look at the back of it, it has the cargo ports, the yellow squares, at the top, which means I can fit more of like the gyros and stuff right here that we're gonna need, and then the cargo container can go right behind it. So let's do our gyro next because we know that's gonna be important, and we might need 2 of those. So let me go ahead, because with miners you always want to overcompensate on hauling because you're going to be very heavy very fast. And then we have our antenna, which we can just place there, and then of course we need our ore detector. I just want a small one. And we'll just place it right there. But that will also allow us, if we come back to here, get our cargo containers, and we can place this modular cargo container if I had interior plate. And basically, that keeps everything in line with the front end of the ship. And that will come in handy because we are going to go ahead and place our drills. One there. And one there. Beautiful. Now, granted, for a first miner, this is not particularly small. But this is also really all it's going to be. Now, it's going to take quite a bit of thrust to get this up and moving. But I'm hoping we can get it done with those 53 or 48, however many it was. 58 metal grids. So that should be okay. I'm going to go grab this unknown signal, because it might actually have even more metal grids in it. So that's important. Ooh, you're an orange ball. Fancy. Did not find anything special. Nice. No metal grids, but found a drill. That's nice. And nickel. Fair enough. Let's get it ground down and back to the base. Alright. So, on my way back here, I was deciding, because this takes 10 metal grids too, I want to see if we can pull this off with, like, just a regular cockpit.
Fuel low.
Uh-oh.
Fuel critical.
Inventory. There's my O2 gen. I'm running out of ice, so I'm gonna need... Whoa, hey. Where did you just... Oh, yep, see. Let me... I know there's a lake down the hill, I'm just gonna go get some ice real quick, and then we'll be right back to this. You guys won't even know the difference.
That would be great. Okay.
Nice. There we go. Should be all set. Alright. Let me move these parts over real quick, because that's gonna kind of bother me. Cool. Alright. So, as I was saying before, I kind of want to use a cockpit that doesn't require metal grids to save us on some. So what we could do is just take these gyros and move them back here. Cool. And then I need steel plate. There we go. Because then what we can do is put our drills like right there. Yeah. Now we will have to connect up our drills. So if we go into our little logistics tab that we made last time, and we do, well, we're gonna have to 90 first. So that's 90 up. And then we can do a T, I believe. Maybe? Yeah. We can do it like that, though. No. Let's just do a regular 90, because then we can come off the back of this. Do that. And then that. That. And then we can have our T. And then a 90 there. Good. So, we are connected cargo-wise to our drills, our cockpit, and our cargo container. So we are all good there. Now we need to find a way to get stuff from the cargo to the base. And that is where this thing comes in. We have the small inset connector. By all means, you are more than welcome to use like the regular connector. On small grid, it looks like this. And on the base, you would just put one of these. By all means, that will work just fine as well. I just like the inset small because it has this extra cargo port here. And then I think there is one... No, there is not one on the other side. Okay, I was wrong. But there's the main one up here that I like, because it gives me access in case I need to like build more onto the ship, or if I want to have a pipe come off of this and do something. It gives me more options and more stuff to work with. So to match that, we are going to put an inset small connector on this. But if we remember, that's a big port on the back of the modular cargo. So it won't work if we just slap this on here, because that's a small port. You can't go directly from big port to small port. So instead what we do is we go into our conveyor junctions and we find this thing. It's called a conveyor converter. And it has a big port on one side and a bunch of small ports on the other. And then it has them on the sides as well. And I need interior plate apparently, because I don't carry things that I need, obviously. So we're going to place that. And then we can go ahead and put our inset connector. Like it? I do. That'll give us a little bit to play with. And then if we want, which I probably will, just for some redundancy, because I like redundancy, we can place these lines going back this way if I have steel plate. There we go. Cool. Now, let's go ahead and get this all welded up, prioritizing the battery. Make sure I have nothing in build planner. Yep. And mainly because this way we can put it on recharge when we get it built up. That way we don't have to worry about waiting to recharge it after we build everything else. It can kind of just sit and charge as we put everything else together. But I'm going to go ahead and get this all welded up, and we shall see you when this part is done. Shouldn't take very long. Yeah, we should be good. Cool. So, we have everything welded up that we placed down. Not the prettiest thing, but that can change later. Right now, we want to talk about thruster placement. Since we are going cheap, we don't want to go with hydrogen thrusters because they are very expensive, and they also force us to use stuff like hydrogen tanks, which overall could be cheaper because they don't technically use batteries, but they do cost. So if we look at a industrial hydrogen thruster, it uses 4 metal grids, where if we look at an atmospheric thruster, it uses 1. So, one thing to keep in mind. And ions we don't want to use because they are pretty much useless on any planet with atmosphere. They don't put out the thrust. So, we want to go with probably regular atmospheric thrusters, like the one I have in my hand, except the small versions. Make sense? Hopefully. So, let me grab some steel plate, and we will go over thruster positioning. So, when it comes to placing thrusters on ships in Space Engineers, we don't necessarily need to follow any rules as far as... Oops. Didn't want to do that. As far as balancing. So, I tend to place them on my ship where it would make sense to have them, even though you don't necessarily have to. Now, that's because Space Engineers doesn't necessarily have an aerodynamics function or side to it. You can quite literally place these thrusters just willy-nilly on your ship. Like, I have 4 in the front right here. That is not going to make the ship kind of roll or backflip if you try to take off that way. The only stipulation that I would say try to keep part of is having them in all 6 directions. So we can place like this. And then we need some forward thrust. So we can do 4 kind of like this. And then we are going to need some reversing thrusters. So, it's not going to let us, is it? That sucks. And we can place one right there. Now, you'll notice that thruster might be a little farther back than it was just a second ago. My game crashed, so I came back and it rolled back far enough to where I had to place all these again. So I decided just to put those one back, just to give us a little more room for a couple more forward thrusters and reverse thrusters. Um, Basically what I'm going to do is, with thruster damage on small thrusters like this, there is a 1 block damage radius or damage distance to them. So what that means is the actual flame coming out of the thruster is only going to damage blocks within a 1 block distance. So I can go ahead, flip this one around, and put it to where the cone of that thruster is more than 1 block away, and it'll be fine. And then we can flip it back over and place our other one there, which means we can do that again down here. Same thing there and there. And I forgot to put one under here. And then we should be good. Now we will need more side-to-side thrust. So that would be our right and left. So we want that to go... Where are we gonna put it? I'm trying to keep things slim because we do have these drills to think about. So why don't we go under here and go 1, 2, and then 1, 2. And then we also will probably want more lift. So let's go ahead and put one behind each drill, and then we'll put another one like this. Now that is quite a lot, and we will see how it does when we get them all welded up. I need to grab hydrogen real quick, but then I'm going to weld all this up and we'll see how it goes. Stay tuned.
Fuel low.
So, before I do anything else, I'm noticing that our piston here is fully extended. So, I'm going to go ahead and retract it. Yeah, let's lock the hinge. Oh, no, that was shear inertia tensor. That could have broke some stuff. Let's lock the hinge. Let's turn the drill off. And let's go ahead and retract the piston. Because then what I'm going to do is remove this.
Inventory full.
Of course you are. There we go. And then we will get our drill and put it back. And get all our stuff for this. Oops, I didn't need a second one. We'll be good, we'll be good, we'll be good. There we go. Okay, so we have to make sure that we rename this to base drill. And then we do base square piston drill 2. And this one we want to share inertia tensor on, because just like the other one, it is attached to the base via the hinge. So we want to make sure that it's all set to go. Now, if we type in drill, we will see we have 2 pistons. So we will just do this by putting them in their own group. And then for both of them, we'll reduce their maximum distance. We will change their velocity to 0.1. Click OK. And then we are going to change up the timer block, because we do have another timer block up here that is just sitting here. And I did place this for a reason, not just a spare. So we're going to get into that reason now and make this a little more automated than it was before. We're going to figure out timings this time. So what we're going to do is go into a timer block, and in its actions, we're going to remove the increase maximum distance. So if you just click on it and remove from toolbar, we are going to instead go to groups and that base drill pistons we just did, and we are going to increase velocity. Right? So now, if we go back to our drill pistons, and we will set their velocity to 0. Now we go back into our drill reverse timer block. We have that as increased velocity. Now we need something like our second timer block to decrease its velocity after a certain amount of seconds. So if we go back into this and rename it base timer block piston stop, we'll put drill in front just so we know which one it goes to. And after, I'd say probably 3 seconds, we'll try that. All it will do is go into our base drill pistons and decrease their velocity, which will hopefully bring them back to 0, and everybody will be happy. Right? So, let's go ahead. Let's turn back on our drill. And I want to make sure in our drill reverse, oh well, no, nothing really has that on it besides our event controller. So let's go in here. Yeah, so our drill got messed up in here. We gotta rename our drill. Yeah, it is. Why didn't I see it? Event controller, cargo watch, select actions. Oh, those must be on the small grid. There it is. Turn off, otherwise turn on. Nice. And then make sure, yep, that's still the same. We should be good. Okay, and now we can go back to our hinge. Take off the lock. And be good to go. Now I will wait and see how it does at the 90, and I'll bring you guys back when it's almost there. Alright, we are almost back at 90. Well, close enough. Enough for me to get an explanation out. So, when this hits 90 degrees, it should reverse the hinge and then activate both pistons to go forward. And then our second timer block will turn them off after 3 seconds. That's the plan anyway. So let's see how far they go. Oop. Let's see if I can make it before then. Gotta increase their maximum distance so they actually will go. And I think I made it in time. So, it hits 90, extends the pistons. Nice. I do like that. That might be far enough. Because if we look, we want it about this, about the size of the drill head. So, I think that's about right. That should be okay. I don't know. We'll see when it hits the other end, because that's when we're really going to find out. So, let's go ahead and speed this up. Hinge. Da-da. Negative 0.2. And now this is where we are gonna see. Because we have about a drill's head distance in front of it. So let's see how far it goes. Yeah, I think that should be okay. Just in case, I'm going to reduce that timer block down to 2 seconds. Drill piston stop. Let's make it 2 seconds, because that will ensure that it doesn't break anything. That's the hope anyway. I don't know. We'll hear it crash and burn here in a minute. I'm sure. But, alright, I'm going to get back to welding. I'll bring you guys back if anything happens in the meantime. Or when I get all these done. Should be nice and fun. Alright, we should be welding up the last of our thrusters. Cool. That should be all of them. I like it. So, one thing to note while I was welding these up, I did have to change in the event controller. Which one is it? This one? No, this one. The cargo watch. Since we're bringing in more stone with this, I had to change our hinge control from hinge lock to just toggling it off. You good? That's probably going to cause it problems. That's fine. We'll just clear it out a little bit. Should be okay. Yeah. Okay. But since we're pulling in more stone this way, I had to change the hinge lock to just turning on and off. Cargo watch, select actions, this one. So, because every time the hinge goes into a hinge lock, the degrees shoot to, I believe, like 360, which has always been a thing in Space Engineers. I don't know why. But it causes the drill reverse timers, or it causes the event controllers watching each angle to activate, because they think it's higher than 89 degrees. So then it sets the timers off and extends the pistons, which is why they were jamming into the wall in that one spot. What are you doing now? Are you just stuck on the tree? Get rid of the tree. There you go. Perfect timing. So, yeah, instead of the hinge lock, we'll just keep it on power on and off. Basically, it does the same thing, but the setup's just going to kind of drift in the direction it was moving anyway, which I'm okay with. But back to our ship, we are technically ready to fly. So, what I am going to do now, I had to turn all the thrusters off because they were using up too much battery, or too much power from the wind turbines. So, I wasn't able to charge. But if we go in here, these are the only thrusters on our base at the moment. So, they're the only thrusters that are going to be on here. If you have multiple ships and stuff like that, I would highly recommend trying to group these before you build them. That way it's easier to see them, because they'll be in an unfinished state, so it will say incomplete and have the name as red on the control panel. So we'll save that minor thrust. We can turn them off in the terminal to keep that nice and clean. And then we have our inset small connector. You see how we have two? We are going to choose the white one. And we're just going to change it to minor. And we can put that in front of a lot of these. And that should be all we need for now. We can do everything else later. But if we go to G, go to groups, we have our minor thrust. So we can put that first and toggle on and off. And then we have our minor battery that we've had on recharge this whole time. We can turn that as recharge on and off. And then we have our small inset connector, which we can choose switch lock. Cool. That should be all we need for now. Okay, so let's go ahead. Recharge is on auto. Thrusters are on. And let's cut ourselves loose. So, as you can see, we can fly, we can turn, we're doing good. We don't have that much battery power, and the one thing I'm going to do to test our limits here is go in 3 directions at once. So spacebar goes up, C goes down, and then you have WASD to go in the directions. Now if we hold W, A, and spacebar at the same time, you can see that red line kind of maxes out. That's bad. That tells me we need another battery. So, to compensate, or well, to add another battery, we need to connect back up to the base. So, oops, I break it. I want to go a little more gentle than that. So we could recharge this battery and turn our thrusters off. And I know exactly where I'm going to put it. So if we grind out our antenna, we can go ahead. There it is. We can put a small one in here. And then if we get a big one, it should, in theory, oh, this is a 2-block center. Of course it is. Oh no, it's 3. Yeah. Fit right there. Pretty beautiful. Now, you see, we can't weld that one underneath, so we're going to have to do it first. So give me that. Weld those power cells. Or make them, anyway. There we go. Beautiful. Now we can throw this battery back on. Get all our parts. I need to tell it to make power cells. There we go. Gave it some time. And now we can put our antenna. We switch it to the parabolic. We can throw that right there. Cool. Nice. I mean, it doesn't look the greatest, but, you know, each their own. We can change that up. What we want to do is go here and disconnect minor battery 3, minor battery, and minor small battery, minor antenna, and we can put these in groups and turn them off in the terminal. Same thing with the gyros. Now you can adjust gyros individually, like just go into one and set its override and stuff like that to help with steering. But I don't think we're necessarily gonna need that. So if we do minor bets, we can take those out of the terminal as well. Now with those 3 batteries in, if we do the WA and spacebar test again, we're at 97. Not necessarily 100, but, you know, better than nothing. If we want to make that a little better, we can add some more smaller batteries, which might be a good idea, honestly. We definitely have quite a bit of power on this thing, so we want to make sure we can fly it properly. So we'll connect back up, put those batteries in. Actually, if we go to our G menu, give it to that one, and we go to groups and grab these batteries and recharge on off. There we go. Let those all recharge. I'm going to slap a bunch more batteries on here. Just a bunch of small ones. What side should... We'll do this side. That wasn't even finished. Rude. There we go. Alright. Now we got a few more batteries. Let's try this again. So, WA space 85. I can live with that for right now. We'll have to see how it goes with a full load. But that should be okay. Alright, so instead of renaming all of these, I'm just going to grab all of them by clicking the first one, shift clicking the last one, and then control clicking minor bats to include it, and hitting save. And then just cycling the show block and terminal a couple times, and they all disappear from the list. So that definitely helps keep our list nice and tidy. There we go. Don't break things, Phonic. Off. Cool. So, we have thrust, we have batteries, we have cargo space, we have drills, and we have connectors. Now, with miners, you're going to be in first person quite often because you're going to be down in a hole. So, what we want to do is make a way for us to easily, one, be able to see, and two, be able to tell when we are full on cargo. So we don't have to keep opening the menu and stopping, right? And I don't think I have a toolbar for these yet. So we're going to type in light, and we're just going to pull all the lights that we can. Nice. Now we just gotta weld all this up, and we should be good to go. At least for lighting. I really don't carry parts on me, do I? Do. Now, we are also going to need an event controller. Where did... There they are. Event controller. And we can put it right behind the battery, because that can blend well with the armor. Beautiful. So, let's hop in our stuff here. And what I want to do is find these two lights back here. I know they're supposed to be in the middle here somewhere, so let's try 3. Yep, that is 1. And then 4. Cool. So 3 and 4, we will make red. Bring the radius down to like 1. Intensity, kind of like that. Good, good. Oh, I still have an incomplete floodlight. Okay, whatever. And then we are gonna call all of these minor lights. And then this one I definitely want to rename because we're about to use it in the event controller. Oh, and then we can take these lights off. Event controller. Cargo filled equal to or greater than. Let's do 98. And we are going to choose our modular cargo container. And then we go to select actions. We are going to choose our inset light. Wherever it might be, there it is. We are going to set color, and we are going to make it red. Confirm. Otherwise, do nothing. Hopefully that makes sense, because what we're going to do is turn its radius and stuff. Oop, wrong one. We want the lights. inset light. Turn its radius all the way up, at least big enough. We can turn its intensity down. Let's go to 3. That looks good. And that should be it. I think we are pretty much done. Range on the ore detector is good. And our battery tests. We don't have that much flight time, so might tweak this a little bit in between episodes. Ugh. Is this still? Very good. Alright, everything's charging up. You can't really see it, can you? Oh. Lovely. I think that's working pretty well. Let's go ahead. How recharged are we? We can tell by going to our minor bets. Show in terminal. Fully recharge in 5 minutes. 2 hours. 2 hours. Okay. Yeah, these have a little way to go. New blades. Cool. So, now if we look, go into here, and we look at our batteries. Before they said about 2 hours, now they say 21 minutes. Definitely more feasible. I like that. Much better. So, what we will do now is, sadly, call it a night. We got our ship pretty much ready to go. We gotta wait and see what kind of charge time we have when they're fully charged, but that shouldn't be an issue. One thing I would suggest is if you're looking to put more batteries on this, or if you followed this design, just built it with me, I would kind of put it up along here. Don't try fitting any between the thrusters, because again, this is going to get broken. And then I would avoid putting them anywhere that they're likely to get smashed into, like on the sides. People tend to be more stable up and down than they are side to side. So, fit them any way you want. By any means, it's your ship. You can put 20 more smalls on here and give you a little bit of a help. But for now, that is going to be it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video. We got our first miner up and going, and it tended to work pretty well. There's really no light in this game at all. I'm pretty certain I never saw daylight. But I hope this video's been informative for you as well. We got our first mining ship up and running. Next video, we will be going over ore spots, what they look like, how to find them, and all the fun stuff that goes along with them, like little tips on finding them and stuff like that. And then I think we are going to be upgrading the base quite a bit. I have been making a big hole in the base, or well, in the side of a mountain, for a reason. And we'll get to see why next video. Because we're going to need full-size refineries, full-size assemblers, and probably a couple more O2H2 gens for what I have planned in the future. But with that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Be sure to leave a like and comment down below. And we'll catch y'all in the next one. Have a good night, everybody.